In her essay titled Eating the Other, Desire and Resistance, Bell Hooks wrote, within current debates about race and difference, mass culture is the contemporary location that both publicly declares and perpetuates the idea that there is pleasure to be found in the acknowledgement and enjoyment of racial difference. The commodification of otherness has been so successful because it is offered as a new delight, more intense, more satisfying than normal ways of doing and feeling. Cultural appropriation of the other assuages feelings of deprivation and lack that assault the psyches of radical white youth who choose to be disloyal to Western civilization. Concurrently, marginalized groups deemed other who have been ignored, rendered invisible, can be seduced by the emphasis on otherness, by its commodification because it offers the promise of recognition and reconciliation. Sunbanan Dumlang, hello, it's Simply Spitzer here and welcome back to my YouTube channel, but also a special welcome to you if you're here for the first time, and welcome to those listening to the audio podcast, Simply Do the Work. So as you can tell by the title of today's video, we will be discussing the recent controversy surrounding Leon Schuster and Showmax, removing his videos for the use of blackface. Now, okay, before I, dive into the meat of the matter, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Firstly, I do want to apologize in advance for any background noises. I am clearly not home alone, because of lockdown and COVID-19, social distancing. We're still maintaining that, okay? The pandemic is not over, contrary to what some people on social media might have you believe. So there any background noises because my dad's in a meeting and I can't control what these other human beings are doing, and I'm not in a soundproof room, so you know what, it is what it is. But also, if you that was a little unnecessary ramble, but also if you are not yet subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. And if you're listening to the podcast, please do follow, subscribe, rate and review, and also share the podcast. I guess without further ado, let's just dive straight into it. So got my notes here, and you know how it goes. It's we're discussing mess, so it might get a little bit messy, but hopefully you'll be able to follow through with me. So in case you don't know what's happening, what's up, what's the tea, let me fill you in, catch up to speed, and make sure that we're on the same page. So last week, okay, so today when I'm filming this, the 25th of June 2020, that's when I'm filming this. Last week, Showmax decided to remove certain films, certain movies, certain content from their platform that might have racist and racially insensitive content or material, and that included, I believe it was 6 movies by Leon Schuster, and in those movies he used blackface. That was the main issue. And also, if you've been following on social media, you probably would have seen that this isn't just unique to South Africa. All around the world, streaming sites and networks have been reviewing their content and removing certain films and series and episodes that do use blackface, and because I first was seeing it, and was it in Netflix and certain British streaming sites, and I remember just thinking to myself, so does that mean the same is gonna happen here in South Africa? Even before, right, Showmax announced their decision, I was actually wondering what was gonna happen, because right now, the Black Lives Matter movement got reignited. It has basically spread to all corners of the earth, and I know some people, actually a lot of people, were upset with this decision that Showmax made. A lot of people were saying things like, woke Twitter won't let us have anything anymore. They were saying things like, this is an American issue, why you guys bring America things here in South Africa? And let me just speak on the first point. And I even tweeted this. I said, being woke isn't exhausting. Because some people said being woke must be exhausting because you find offense in everything, which is not true. And I'll explain to you guys why. Being woke isn't exhausting, right? What is exhausting is having to constantly engage with people who aren't open-minded, who aren't willing to learn and educate themselves. That is what's exhausting. And I think the reason, and also by the way, I do not identify as woke, because woke has sort of become a trend, right? It's sort of like, for some people, being woke is a performance. It's an act that they put on. It's a persona that they take on. And if you know you're not speaking on things that truly matter to you, then I can imagine it's going to be exhausting. For me, talking about these issues isn't something I just do for the public. It's something, these are conversations I have been having in my everyday life. Like literally, it's on any given day, you'll find at some point I had a conversation with someone about something problematic I heard or saw. And I think also people are failing to realize, and at this point I feel like I'm a broken record, because whenever we're discussing these sort of issues, it goes beyond the individual that's being mentioned. You know, I do think that, for example, this decision made by Showmax regarding the Schuster's movement movies has sort of allowed us to have this conversation here in South Africa regarding blackface, because I feel like it's not a conversation that we commonly discuss or have here in our country. And so I think let's first start off and basically like define what is blackface and understand why is it racist, why is it so wrong. Basically, first of all, in case you don't know, Leon Schuster is a white man. Okay? He's a white man. That is a fact. And so him putting on blackness as a costume is dehumanizing. It separates black people from their humanity. It detaches our humanity from our bodies. Excuse me. You also have to understand that blackface has a long, deep, racist and oppressive history, okay? When blackface was used, it was used to perpetuate negative stereotypes on black people. It was used as a means to ridicule black people, to look down upon them. With like take Leon Schuster for example, right? This is what I was saying. You've got these black men, these black people, fighting for a white man to dress up as a black woman when they are disrespecting, like at the same time, real black women are being abused, are being mistreated, are being forgotten, are being disregarded. It's the same conversation where it comes with, cultural appropriation, where people don't understand why, black people get so upset when you wear certain black hairstyles, because you don't understand the history of it, don't understand the importance of the significance of it. I was reading the essay Eating the Other by Bell Hooks, and how she describes it is that literally white people consume other cultures in a form of cannibalism. It's sort of like other cultures are seen as the spice, as the seasoning to add onto the blandness that is white culture. But anyway, I think I've kind of gone a little bit of a tangent. Let me bring it back to the issue at hand. So, okay, cool, right? Showmax makes a decision to pull Leon Schuster's movies, and then what does Leon Schuster say? Because there's all this noise from the crowd, right? But what did Leon Schuster say? And this is actually one of the reasons why, when I first heard of the story, I didn't immediately film a video. I was like, you know what? Let me first take my time. Let me first get all the information, because you don't want to speak too soon, and then new information comes up, then you look like a clown. But what I did find is that in a story published on the 5th of August 2018 by the Times Live website, Leon Schuster himself said blackface is racist, and he says that many fans have begged him not to do it, and so he will no longer be doing it. Recently, with regards to recent allegations, Rob van Vieren apologized for using blackface in the 2013 movie Shucks, Your Country Needs You. And he even said that he knew at the time that what he was doing was wrong. He basically went through a whole lot of mental gymnastics to justify it at the time, but he knew, and you know, he recognizes how in his privilege he's in the wrong. He recognizes how he shouldn't have done that, and I can appreciate that. I can respect that. Okay, look, I'm not saying that when we're calling people out and holding them accountable, we're not saying people aren't allowed to be flawed human beings, because we all are. Lord knows I have my own mistakes, but they weren't like I didn't do it in front of millions of people. So I've still learned, I've still grown, and even with him, he recognizes how he was wrong, and you know what? I don't even have much to say about that. But then, okay, this is where I kind of this is where I get a little confused. Like, okay, what is going on? Make it make sense, because recently, when I read the recent articles, Leon was saying that he was disappointed at the decision that Showmax made, and was saying that fans had never said anything to him about the use of blackface. And that's when I'm just like, what? What? Less than a year ago, you yourself, you said blackface is racist. People asked me not to do it, and so I won't do it. But now that your films are being, now that they're being taken away, or taken down, now you're like, girl, I don't know what like you're surprised, you're shook, you're dismayed. And there's a comment that he made that I find issue with. He was saying that we should forget color. And isn't this a rhetoric that I thought we addressed? I thought we explained how you can't just hit the equality button and say, yep, we're all people, let's forget color, let's just live in a post-racial world. Because that, you can say that as a white man, you can easily forget about color. But me as a black person, I don't have that luxury. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. But why? I don't even have words to say at this point, because I feel like I've been saying why we cannot live in a post-racial world. Why saying I don't see color is not effective to the solution at all. I was saying let's all just be South African. Like, yes, I am not. I think first of all, we do recognize how race is a construct, right? How race, the idea and concept of race didn't exist like 1,000 years ago. It's, I think about 600 years old. But at the same time, as much as it's a construct, as much as it's a device or, a made up thing, it does have real implications on people's lives. Okay? I still, experience discrimination because of my race, So you can't tell me to just forget about the color. You can't tell me that we're all just Africans, which is true. But that mindset doesn't help us come any closer to a solution. And then, right, with all of this happening, like all over the world, right, people talk about blackface and being upset about it. So some people were saying, but then how come movies with white face, like white chicks, aren't seen as offensive? And I can't even say it with a straight face, because white face isn't a thing. It doesn't have the same historical significance, the same historical implications as blackface does. But since y'all brought it up, let's talk about white chicks. Now, funny enough, I actually recently did watch White Chicks, not for this movie, but just coincidentally, I rewatched White Chicks. And so, I'm not gonna say White Chicks is, a masterpiece of cinema. I'm not gonna say that it isn't problematic. I wrote down here it's got like fat shaming. The misogyny. You have white people saying the N-word, and there's also some homophobia, transphobia, and some questionable takes on date rape and drug use. Okay, so White Chicks has its own issues, and those can be discussed on another day. But since y'all brought up white facing, white, like, it even sounds weird saying it because literally I've never heard this term used. But okay, first of all, when you actually like watching White Chicks now, knowing what I know now, and watching it also with the backdrop of what's happening in the world, and also critically thinking about it, White Chicks does actually provide some meaningful critiques and insights into white culture and how there's this elitism and the racism, because it's almost like in White Chicks you kind of see how white people act when black people aren't there, or when they it's kind of like the facade that white people can give off when they're with around with other black people, it falls away in White Chicks. And I think also people want to come at the Wyan brothers, but if you actually look at the Wyan brothers characters, they continue to act like themselves even when they were dressed as the white chicks. To us, all the jokes and the digs at white people were mostly made by the white actors in the film. And so to also act as if the Wyan brothers, dressing up in, to act as if White Chicks has the same implications on a white person as blackface has on a black person is both disingenuous. I believe it just shows that you don't care, you don't have the, it just shows that, it just shows to me you didn't do the reading. And this is the way it gets exhausting. It's kind of like, we talk about two different things. These are apples and oranges, right? But anyways, there's that, right? And I think also another thing people are saying is that this is an American issue. Why are we in South Africa? Like, I feel like that's what a lot of times, right, when we bring up issues like not only blackface but colorism, people will be like, oh, that's an American thing, we don't have that in South Africa. But I don't think you guys actually realize how much America influences not only South Africa, but like the world. Like Black American culture specifically is one of the biggest exports of America. And the thing is, we can't deny the power and the strength that influx of American content has on us. I feel like it's easy to just latch onto the good that we get from America, but I think also because of how much messaging we're getting from them, even the negative it comes with, you can't pick and choose what you're gonna take. I think that's also the issue with woke culture. The people who act woke is that as soon as it's their fave, wokeness has left the chat. They will defend mess with all that they have. And like I'm saying, it's not to say that, like I always say, I'm not coming from a place of moral superiority. I'm not saying I have the answers. And I myself have gotten it wrong at times. But I think the thing is, it's always, that's what I was saying in my previous video, it's a constant process. You're constantly learning, educating yourself. Because sometimes looking back, there are things that I defended, like, in conversation, looking back, like, ooh, you defended mess. And that's what also, I think sometimes people just need to just be quiet. Just don't say anything. Like, I get it. We all have the right to an opinion, but not all opinions need to be heard. Even I myself, sometimes if I see my fave getting dragged, I'm like, oh, girl, this is messy. And especially, sometimes I can see that, I don't really understand why people are upset, but I listen. I think that's the component that is missing whenever these conversations, these issues are brought up. People aren't listening to each other. It's just screaming over each other. And things, once it's over, people move on. Like, no one ever actually takes the time to reflect and be like, okay, so this is what's happening in the world. This is what people are saying. What? And this is what I think. Why do I think this way? It's even like this morning I was having a conversation with some friends about offensive jokes and laughing at things. And I think even with this issue of Leon Schuster and his movies and the use of blackface and how it's racist, I think the fact that the movies and films are funny, that doesn't take away from how racist and offensive they are. Those two ideas can coexist. The movies, the jokes can both be racist and funny. Because I feel like a lot of times when they apologize for making an offensive joke, they say, "I'm so sorry, the joke wasn't funny, but someone's like, no, the joke was funny, but it's still offensive." I think that the thing is also, humor is very subjective, right? And I think the reason why people also don't want to admit when something is offensive is because what does it say about you as a person? If I found that offensive joke funny, what does it say about me? People aren't willing to do that self-reflection. And I think that's the thing. You don't stop at self-reflection. You also have to do the work, It's the same as, if you find a racist joke funny and you consider yourself to be anti-racist, sit down, do the work, and be like, okay, why did I find that funny? What do I need to unlearn? Because trust me, once you've done the work, right, those jokes will never be funny ever. Like, there are things looking back which I used to think were, comedic peak. I thought, oh, comedic genius. But once I realized how problematic it was, I thought, oh, actually, that's not funny. I once saw a friend sent me a post saying, "I'm not offended, I just don't like your insults that are disguised as jokes." I also feel like, why do you feel the need to make this joke? Why are you so pressed? Why do people want to I don't understand why people want to defend these racist, hurtful, and harmful things. And Leon Schuster, right? This isn't we don't hate Leon Schuster, by the way. He did, his most recent statement was saying that while he was initially disappointed, he's willing to listen, and if this causes harm, he will no longer do it. And that's all we're asking, right? He probably, was like, okay, you know what? People are saying that this is offensive. People are saying that, this is harmful. And this is why I was saying that whenever we discuss it, we're not attacking the individual. I think that's where we need to distinguish. There's a difference between attacking Leon Schuster and attacking, or not even attacking, we're not attacking anyone, and addressing the issue of blackface in his films, the issues of cultural appropriation in his films, because it goes back to, if you're calling out a friend or family member for saying something inappropriate, you're not coming for their character. You're not saying that, oh, you're such a horrible person. How dare you say that? How dare you say such a thing? No, you're just saying, hey, listen, what you said, it isn't okay because of this reason, these reasons. And then the person will be like, oh my goodness, thank you so much for telling me. I'll do better. I think we need to just get past that thing of, oh, but they're a good person. Oh, but we know they mean well. You're like, oh, blackface, it has such a racist history, so oppressive. But we know when he's doing it, he doesn't mean it like that. That doesn't work. Sorry. If you think like that, please do the reading. Please educate yourself. I do feel like there's a lot I could have said regarding this issue, regarding blackface, even on cultural appropriation. There are so many layers. And I feel like I didn't really do them much justice today, but I think this is a good start. This is a good conversation starter, because I feel like, my intention whenever I sit down to record these isn't necessarily to come off giving the answers or, telling things. I don't want to tell people what to believe. I don't want to necessarily be the one telling people what's right or wrong, because what I want is, listen to what I have to say, think about it, but then also go and learn, go and educate yourself, go and, look up to other resources, yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it here. And just say thank you so much for watching and or listening. If you enjoyed this video and you're watching on YouTube, please do give this video a thumbs up. Also feel free to leave a comment down below. Let me know what are your thoughts, and also follow me on social media at Simply Sfiso on Instagram and Twitter. Like, lately I've been, sort of getting over my fear of social media, so I'm being a little bit more vocal, a little bit more interactive on social media. So feel free to connect to me on those platforms. But yeah, without further ado, thank you so much once again. Until I see and hear from you guys in the next one, I love you so much. Bye, guys.